days better, because The View is live. Fix is in session with Whoopi, Albie Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
Welcome to The View. So we want to start by mentioning that there is a state of emergency happening in Northern California, in California really right now, over wildfires that have forced nearly 200,000 people from their homes. We just want everybody to do what they need to do to stay safe. If they say you gotta go, don't take a lot of time thinking about it, because they wouldn't tell you to go if you didn't need to go. The other thing we want to do is acknowledge a bit of sad news, because we lost the longest-serving black congressman, John Conyers, who passed away at 90 years old. He passed away from natural causes, and he was around a long time. He's worked with a lot of great people, and so we want to send out our condolences to his family.
Yeah, when you think about his public service, I mean, he even was there during the impeachment hearings, the Nixon impeachment hearings, and the Civil Rights Act of 1965. I mean, you're talking about a long-term civil servant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty amazing.
So, here is some wonderful news. Republicans and Democrats are united in their applause for the news that a military operation in Syria took down the #1 most wanted terrorist in the world, ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Here's the press conference from yesterday. Take a look.
Last night, the United States brought the world's #1 terrorist leader to justice. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. He was the founder and leader of ISIS, the most ruthless and violent terror organization anywhere in the world. He died after running into a dead-end tunnel, whimpering and crying and screaming all the way.
So can we at least agree that the world is a better place without this guy in it?
Who, Trump or the Baghdadi?
Which one do you think?
Baghdadi's a bad guy. I'm glad he's dead. Trump is now taking credit for all of this. And I remember when Osama bin Laden...
Yeah, we got all the tweets up that he put out.
Was captured.
Yeah.
He said, Obama should not be taking credit for this because the Navy SEALs did it. Well, in this case, the special ops or whoever they were did this thing also. So maybe he should back off a little bit and stop bragging about it so much.
Yeah. Battle ISIS, and certainly he was the self-proclaimed leader of ISIS. And so this is a good thing. My problem is that, at least by New York Times reporting, folks inside of the intelligence community are saying that this operation was done despite or in spite of President Trump, not because. And they're also saying that he had this sort of selective notification about it. So rather than inform Pelosi, rather than inform Adam Schiff, rather than inform Schumer, the Gang of Eight, people that are supposed to be informed of this kind of operation, inform just 2 people instead of all 8. And I think when you are conducting this kind of operation, which is so important to the national security of our country, yourself from the chain of command, you don't remove yourself from the norms of reporting. And it just concerns me that even in something like this, he just doesn't follow the rules.
Right.
He just doesn't follow the rules.
It's a huge deal. It's a big deal. I mean, this is the biggest death of a terror leader since Osama bin Laden. And I'm the believer that a president like a CEO, when bad things happen, you deserve some credit. We spend every day on this show with the tit for tat and finding a reason to hit on Trump and to say what a terrible president he is. I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to waste any of my time doing that, because you know what? The men and women that were involved with this, they don't deserve it. They deserve to be praised for what they did in that mission.
We are praising them.
But I just think we need
We
to
are.
take a breath and focus on how this came to be. This has been in the works for years. You had none of our men and women that died in the process. And while Trump would love for us to be talking about him, I'm sure, I'm not going to do it today. I'm not going to spend my time. And I'm so proud of this country. We are the very best military on this earth. I mean, I thought yesterday, like, when we complain all the time, we still rock. We still rock because we are leading. We are leading this world in this fight against terror.
What about the Kurds? I mean,
Well, the Kurds fought along with us, which says a lot about them given what we just did to them.
Can I talk? Sorry. So I want to talk about Kayla Mueller, who was a woman from Prescott, Arizona, who was a Doctors Without Borders volunteer, who was taken by al-Baghdadi, tortured, kept in solitary confinement, raped over and over again, and actually ended up had the opportunity to leave and didn't, and saved other women. And she's a very big name, I think, nationally, but in particular. And I think today we honor her, we honor her family. This guy, Baghdadi, was the worst of the worst of the worst kind of scum on planet Earth. And I, for one, hope he's burning in hell with Osama bin Laden. And I don't care if that's on PC to say this morning. I don't care. It's our way of life or the others. When you're bringing up the Kurds, it is a valid point. The Kurds helped us get information that led to bringing this back. But I will say, I remember when Osama bin Laden was killed, I was on a plane and the plane applauded, and I was crying and elated, and I remember wanting to go out on the streets. There was a bunch of people, I was going from DC to New York, but there were people celebrating, and I wanted to celebrate yesterday, and there was not this feeling of celebration in the way that we should take these wins, because it's a win for America, and it's a win for democracy, and it's a win for freedom, and it's a win for people who don't believe in torture and raping young women who are just volunteering with Doctors Without Borders overseas. And I really think at this moment, all of our hearts should be with the Mueller family today.
Yeah, that's a great story.
I agree that this is a win for the country, and that certainly we need to honor the men and women in our armed forces that executed this, and our allies like the Kurds, who President Trump necessarily didn't thank first. In fact, he thanked Russia first.
well,
That is a cheap attack line, Sonny.
Oh, I think
For you and
I think it's the truth. In real
Okay.
time, it's not an attack line, and so I think
It is
that's
not an
why.
attack.
That's
Were
why
you-
you're
were
not.
you in the
That's why you're
situation
not
room?
hearing.
No, but were you in the
type of-
situation
I
room
think
when the
that's why
information
you're
was
not-
coming
was
in?
he in the situation room? I think that's why you're not hearing the sort of patriotism that you heard when Osama bin Laden was taken down, and that's why I think when he showed up at the World Series, people were yelling what they were yelling.
Well,
You
well,
heard
but-
news, you heard lock him up.
First of all,
because people don't feel like they support this president.
Can I finish
Just
what I-
really quick. The World Series is the swamp. It's a bunch of lobbyists and people in D.C. that can afford to go to the 5th World Series.
Everybody, just
Okay,
hold up a
so-
second. Hold up a second. We'll come back and finish this conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're continuing the conversation. You were saying?
No, I was saying I think that one of the reasons that people do not feel this president does not feel the support of the country the way you would expect is because many people do not feel that he puts this country first.
Right.
A lot of people feel that he puts his finances first. People are questioning his methodology with Ukraine. People are feeling that he uses this country as his own personal cash register.
But can we just not
and
do
that is
this?
and that is
Just
why
not do this
it's important to put
today.
it into context.
But you didn't put Russia in context, Sonny. You said, well,
Put it
you were
in context
saying
for
he
me.
thanked Russia before he thanked our own leaders, but the reality is this is the most dangerous mission that our military men and women can do.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine you're flying in the middle of the night in Syria over Russian-controlled airspace. So he not
that's
only
why he
thanked,
thanked them
so that's what he
first.
thanked them because he also thanked, by the way, the Kurds. He should have thanked them a lot more, but he thanked Syria and Turkey for their help because we couldn't have done it without their help.
Yes.
So if you're talking to the generals in the moment, it's easy to sit at this table and attack him for calling Russia first, but that's not the
Are
way.
you
We couldn't have
comfortable
done it.
with the
As
fact
much
that
as we
he
hate
told-
Russia, we couldn't have done it without their help.
Are you comfortable that he told Russia about this before he told his own Gang of Eight?
I'm
Are you
not in these.
comfortable with
I'm
that?
not in these.
Because I'm not.
Yeah, you tell him, Sonny. I'm not in these. You know what? I would much rather have a general here and ask him that question because you don't know that and I don't know that. All I know is as dangerous as it was, we needed Russia's help. We needed serious help.
But I want to marry, we're all happy. We're all happy that the troops are safe.
But why are we talking
and that
about
our men
taxes
and
right
women
now?
did it. We're talking about Trump right now. He has a chaotic foreign policy. Everything is tainted because of what he did to the Kurds, too. Let's not forget that. So it's tainted. And for what she's saying, we don't trust him. We don't trust that he's a real American. We trust that he's in the.
But if you criticize him for calling Russia,
Vladimir Putin.
Well, I think listen, just one thing. I mean, listen, I am the type of person, like, we're going to put a boot in their ass, it's the American way woman on this set. Like, I agree with that. I wear the American flag bandanas and, like, toast to freedom, and, like, I am that person. I will say, it is weird to thank Russia before in the line of when he thanked versus our troops, our special forces, the men and women in the military, the badasses that brought this freedom home for us. So that is the only thing that I agree with on this. That, to me, you thank our troops and the flag and America first, period. So that is the one thing I will agree with on that.
And let us not forget that he can
Always, across the board.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's not forget that he also dissed Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats in the House by saying that he didn't tell them because he was afraid there would be a leak. The leaks are coming from the
his
White
own
House.
administration.
That's where the leaks are coming from.
But I will
Not
say,
from Nancy Pelosi.
but I will say that, like, that's what's the saddest part, and I think this is what Abby's trying to say. The saddest part of it is this is really a celebratory day because we have brought a bastard to hell where he belongs, period. But the sad part is the politics and the things that he has done, and again, I was shocked that he thanked Russia first because you know how I feel about Russia and Putin. But that still doesn't negate the fact that this is a big win and we shouldn't be politicizing it. But the problem is he politicizes everything.
That's right. That may be why. That may be why yesterday when he was at the ball game,
the Nationals.
And I don't know why they did it, but folks, well, let's just show it. I don't think.
But I do think that crowd is important. No, that's in the middle of the Washington, D.C. swamp. If he next game, maybe it would have been a different reaction.
No, I don't think just that. I think people are really at him, you know, because I was in Washington the night of the game. So I saw all kinds of people.
Game?
I wasn't at that game.
Oh,
I was
okay.
signing books. You know, but and the reason I say that is jerseys going and so it was a whole bunch of folks, black, white, Latino, Asian. It was just a whole bunch of people, and I think didn't want to give him very much because in a way you're all correct about what's going on. People are annoyed with him. Because you want to get up and be really on top of it, but you've done it so often, and he's disappointed you so often that people go, well, I don't know if I should believe
They
you.
take it as a compliment. If you were to look at his kids that were tweeting, they say, to Megan's point, we're in the swamp. We want people to hate us. I don't Michelle about why are we going to stoop to his level? To the people that were out screaming that? That's what he does. Why do we have to do that?
Because we've
we're all
encouraged
better than
them
that.
to. That's why.
But my thing with this too, though, is not that I think the context of the audience is important, but I do think if halftime, I'm not against it. I'm just trying to bring context to the audience.
It's sort of a beautiful moment for using his words against him. Let's face it.
Him up didn't come from the suites. Those chants came from the seats where I sat in as a kid. Okay, those aren't the expensive seats; those are the people seats. So I think that you have this. I even saw banners, veterans for impeachment.
I saw that too.
People are upset with it.
Washington team owners did not want to sit with him.
Why don't we just do this? Why don't we have a toast to Jack Knight for killing terrorists?
Oh, I'll
we
do
can
that.
do it on the field. You don't even have to politics. You're all invited to my apartment.
I'll probably just roll something up and do it.
There's water in here, by the way. I don't want. Seriously, there's water in here. I don't want any more issues on this show that I already have. Thank you so much.
And there you go. We'll be back.